Welcome back. 5 games tonight. Pretty good day. We did get tool tickets, so we did a happy dance when we got tool tickets. Pretty good seats. Pricey, but they may never come back again. It's been a long time since they were in Vancouver, so yeah, we're going. All right, first game of the night we're going to talk about is the Rangers in against Philly. Boy, howdy, did the Rangers run into a wall in this one, right? Now, early, it looked good. It was Jesper Fast scoring from Panarin at 2:49. Things look good. Rangers, they're up. They were ahead 4-2 in shots 5 minutes into this, and Georgiev, he denied Giroux, he denied Myers. It looked like we were in for a very strong game for the Rangers, but as the period went along, the Flyers are getting more and more momentum, more and more shots. And eventually, one of those is going to go in, courtesy of Couturier from Voracek and Giroux at 16:07. After that goal went in, Panarin then had a great chance. He was robbed by Carter Hart. So Hart, pretty darn good game. So while Georgiev's getting all the attention at one end, Carter Hart's probably going, am I a joke to you? So it's 1-1 after one. Second period, they announced Kreider, who was felled in the first period, will not return for the rest of the game. So not only do the Rangers suffer a setback on the ice, but with Kreider, that kind of counts as 2. There was an early post for Claude Giroux. Hart stopped D'Angelo. Really good. Again, great game for Carter Hart. Power play for the Rangers. They don't score. Then the Flyers get a power play. They are unable to score on theirs either. And then during that power play, they call a double minor. And it was Provorov, I believe, for interference. And then they gave Howden a high sticking call. Now, the interesting thing is that Howden's falling down and his stick comes up. Now, you're responsible for your stick, but as you're being tripped to the ice and you fling your stick up, I don't know. It just seemed like a weird call that a guy could stick a guy in the face who was tripping him, and then you give him the penalty for the high stick. I personally read it this way. The referees wanted to keep things as close to even as possible, didn't want it to be a 5-on-3, so they gave them both a call. Van Riemsdyk would score from Obe Kubel and Lawton at 13 minutes. I should say, I almost said 3. No, 13 minutes. And then 2 minutes and 5 seconds later, Giroux scores from Couturier and Voracek at 15:05, as that line was really, really good. And if the Flyers are going to do damage in the playoffs, it's going to be on these guys. And right now, Flyers are probably the best team in the Metro Division. The Flyers pressed for more. The Rangers would get a late power play, which led to Lawton getting quite the shorthanded chance. But he's unable to score. It is 3-1 Flyers headed into the third. Early in the third period, Hart with a really big save early on, and then they get a power play, and Giroux scores from Voracek and Konechny at 2 minutes and 36 seconds. Pretty big night for Giroux and Konechny. For Giroux and Voracek. I'm sure Konechny was happy with this game as well, but Giroux and Voracek had a big one. Rangers then get a power play. Panarin ends up hitting a crossbar not too long after Panarin hits a crossbar. Hayes scores from Voracek and Lawton at 12:56. So the Flyers continue this record where if Hayes gets a goal, they have an excellent record. And in the last minute, Howden scored a goal that didn't really do anything other than add a goal to the goals against for Hart. From Fox and Buchnevich at 19:34. The Flyers win this one 5-2. Dominant victory for the Flyers. Statement victory for the Flyers against a Rangers team that's got to be coming out of tonight saying, all right, so we've got to make sure that doesn't happen again. Georgiev saves 35 out of 40 in the loss. Hart saves 26 out of 28 in the win. Voracek, Giroux, and Hart are your 3 stars. Honestly, coming out of this game, I look at it this way. The Flyers have been dominant at home, and they were again. And for the Rangers, they've been on an incredible winning streak. It was probably overdue for them to get a loss. Shots were 16-8 in the first in favor of the Flyers, 13-10 Flyers in the second, 11-10 Flyers in the third. Final shots 40-28 in favor of the Flyers. Power plays, Philadelphia goes 1 for 3, and the Rangers go 0 for 3. So pretty solid game all around, but the victory belongs to the Flyers, who looked really good. Next up, Minnesota. Columbus. Columbus is done. Like we are honestly at a point now where Columbus is kind of done. So Columbus's misery tonight just takes another hit. And Columbus fans now have to be looking at this and saying, all right, so we're not going to make it. And that's kind of the way I'm looking at it too. The thing is, nobody behind them took that step forward tonight. So we're in this awkward place where they're in a top 8 spot, but they don't look like a top 8 team. This is the worst Columbus has looked for a long time. Eriksson Ek scores from Greenway and Patterson at 6 minutes and 12 seconds. So that makes it 1-0. And then they have a 3-on-2 pretty quick after that, and Spurgeon gets the drop pass. He puts it in. Fiala and Suter with the assists at 6:46. That makes it 2-0 for the Wild. Minnesota in charge. You get the feeling Columbus is going to struggle because Columbus is struggling to score goals these days. Wenberg's chance went wide, and Columbus gets a power play, but their power play coming into tonight was 3 for 32 in their last 14 games. I did mention I had a chat with somebody today, and during that chat we talked about Columbus and how what Columbus is missing in their game right now is with Seth Jones out, that just the defensive presence isn't there. That first pass out of their own zone isn't there. It's thrown their game completely off. Despite all the other injuries, the Jones injury, it feels like, has crippled this team. Second period, power play for the Wild. There was then some sloppy play by both teams. Both teams were playing some sloppy hockey. But of course, with Columbus's luck lately, eventually that leads to a goal against. It's Hartman from Koivu at 10:52. Less than 2 minutes later. So again, it's quick back-to-back goals. Parise scores from Greenway and Brodin at 12 minutes and 30 seconds. 4-0. That ends the night for Korpisalo, and Kivlenieks goes in. So Korpisalo is done for the night. Korpisalo's numbers have taken a bit of a hit, but again, it really feels like it's that loss of that anchor on the blue line. Third period, and the interesting thing too is if you watch the body language of Tortorella right now, he looks to me like a guy who's kind of resigned himself to the idea that this team that I've got on the ice, they're trying, it's not there. And sort of when there's a goal against it, it just feels like, again, it's body language where it's kind of a, yeah, of course. And I can just imagine how testy he's got to be in press conferences right now. Or maybe he's just resigned to it and he's not that unpleasant at all. Third period, Columbus gets power play. They don't score on that. The Wild would get their turn, and then they get another one. And on that third power play of the game, they score. It's Fiala from Parise and Stahl at 12 minutes and 20 seconds. It makes it 5-0. And mercifully, that's where things end for Columbus. Stalock gets the 9th shutout of his career. 23 shots in that. Korpisalo saved 11 out of 15. Kivlenieks goes in, saves 10 out of 11. 3 stars are Parise, Greenway, and Fiala. Power plays 1 for 3 for Minnesota. And Columbus 0 for 2. So now in their last 15 games, they're 3 for 34. It's just all over. Their game is just kind of done. Shots were 11-9 Columbus in the first, and then 9-6 Minnesota in the second, 8-7 Minnesota in the third. Final shots 26-24. And yeah, it's an awkward night where you're talking about a team that's in a playoff spot, and you're like, well, but they're done. And we'll see if that is the case, if somebody behind them manages to get that momentum going again. All right. Next game is Colorado in against Carolina. And Carolina, they're kind of in trouble too. And this is where it gets odd. So the Rangers had a chance to move into potentially a playoff spot. Nope. Columbus had a chance to maybe, space themselves out from teams beneath them. Nope. Carolina at home, they could help themselves. Nope. Forsberg makes his debut with Carolina. He played well. Anton Forsberg played well. The Avalanche get a power play. They don't score on it, but Tyson Jost would get a goal from Johnson and Girard at 6 minutes and 34 seconds, and it was really the Avs in complete control at that stage. They were up at 9 minutes into this game in shots, 9-4. So heavy pressure for the Avs. And though it was just 1-0, it could easily have been 2 or 3 by that point. Forsberg then kind of wiped out behind his own net. And for me, I went, oh, he's not going to get injured, is he? That was my first thought was, okay, Forsberg's not going to like hurt himself, like tear an ACL or something behind the net, right? He didn't. He was okay. The Canes tried to even it out with 5 minutes left. They would end up drawing a late power play. And then during that power play, Zadorov shoved Dzingel into the boards. And it was dangerous. And I've discussed this before. It's one of those hits where he probably didn't need to take a guy who's already off balance and shove him into the boards. They could have given him a penalty there. I'm surprised they didn't give him a penalty there. The fans weren't happy. The announcers weren't happy either. I was watching the Carolina feed. So it did look like Zadorov should have had a penalty there and didn't. And then Dzingel left the game. So it's kind of a double whammy there. So we go into the second period. The Canes would get another power play in the second period. Francouz denied Teravainen. Brady Shea then had a pass to Martinook on a 2-on-1. Just misses. Martinook just misses that net. The Avs would get a power play they don't score on, but not long after that, it's Jost. Yep, Jost from Makar at 12 minutes and 51 seconds. That makes it 2-0. The Avalanche get a power play, and Jost very nearly got the hat trick. He was pushing for it, very nearly got it, but the score's 2-0 after 2 in favor of Jost. Third period, the Canes get a power play, and then Aho hit both posts on the same shot, post, and out. Francouz was frustrating Williams. Justin Williams had 2 shots, and Francouz stopped one and caught the other, and you could see he was visibly frustrated with that. Teravainen, though, would end that frustration. He scores from Aho and Shea at 5:54. So that's Shea's first assist as a member of the Carolina Hurricanes. And he played well tonight. He did. He played very well tonight. Nichushkin then tried to answer. That was stopped. And it's Teravainen from Slavin and Aho at 7:55. And here we go. It's a tie game all of a sudden. 2 goals in 2 minutes and a second. Tie game. And it was a pretty strong third period for Carolina. Overall, they had control of most of that third period, and then it's a turnover. Landeskog gets it, passes it to Girard. Girard puts it in the net. 17 minutes and 23 seconds. It's 3-2 in favor of Colorado, which quieted the crowd down pretty quick. They pull the goalie immediately after, and they call a timeout. And then Slavin had an open net miss. So with the 6-on-5, the puck goes to Slavin, and Slavin just puts it right over top of the net. So if that goes in, we have a totally different storyline tonight, but it didn't. So Francouz saves 45 out of 47, doesn't get into the 3 stars. Forsberg saves 29 out of 32. Your 3 stars are Jost, Teravainen, and Aho. How does a goalie save 45 out of 47 and not get into the 3 stars, especially when he's on the board a few times here? So I'm not sure how he didn't get into the 3 stars. He had a great game. Shots were 13-12 in the first in favor of Carolina, 18-12 Carolina in the second, 16-8 Carolina in the third. Final shots 47-32 in favor of the Hurricanes. Power plays, both teams go 0 for 3. Colorado comes out of Carolina with a win. Now they go into Nashville tomorrow night. Colorado, for my money, they're the best team in the West right now, although it is close. We'll get to the other best team in the West once we get to that game. Okay, we got to that game. Vegas. Vegas and Colorado, to me, are the teams playing the best hockey in the West right now. And it's pretty darn close between the two of them. This is 8 wins in a row for Vegas, who have been pretty darn solid overall. Stone was out tonight. That's the impressive part. Mark Stone misses tonight, so Stevenson gets promoted onto that line. So Chandler Stevens at least started the night on that line. But Cahoon scores from Johansson and Vesey at 2 minutes and 16 seconds. So Buffalo, they do what they have to do. They're fast out of the gate. Here we go. Buffalo, they're 10 points out, but maybe... Nah. The Sabres pressured it around the 5-minute mark. Hutton robbed William Karlsson, but eventually it's Raw scoring from Cousins and Holden at 11 minutes and 12 seconds. So Cousins, a goal and an assist in his first 2 games with Vegas. That mystique that Vegas has, where when somebody's brand new to Vegas, they play really well, it's still there. It's Stevenson earlier in the year and now Cousins. You go to Vegas, you will score. And in Leonard's case, maybe it's true of goalies as well. This is the first time we've seen this with goalies. All of their goalies have been either expansion pickups or homegrown until tonight. Tonight's the first time they've picked up a goalie in a trade and played him in a game. Remember, they picked up Subban on waivers. Leonard stopped Lazar, and then he stopped Yoki Haru shortly after that as well. So Leonard, after allowing that first goal on the first shot, he did very, very well. Second period, back and forth chances at the half. It was a very evenly played first half of that period. Not a lot of shots. There's a power play then for the Sabres, and during that, Leonard denied Eichel, and he looked very confident. So again, and I mentioned this when I did the preview, I thought playing Leonard against Buffalo would be a good idea because, of course, he likes to beat Buffalo. This is the team that gave him up. And so you like to go against your former boss that gave you up and go, hey, you probably should have held on to me. And Leonard tonight looked pretty good. Third period, it's not tied for long. Carlson scores from Pacioretty and Stevenson at 3 minutes and 6 seconds. So Carlson continues his recent string of goals. He's been doing pretty well lately when it comes to the goal scoring. Riley Smith then gets his 26. That's a new career high. From Stastny and Whitecloud at 5:25, that is Whitecloud's first point in the National Hockey League. So things are really going well for Vegas tonight. They score those two, of course, about 2.5 minutes apart. Leonard then stopped Eichel again. So again, Robin Leonard probably like, I can do this. I know this team, I can do this, and it worked out pretty well. Hutton stopped Marchessault. They do pull the goalie with around 3 minutes left. That allows Smith to get another goal from Marchessault at 18 minutes and 11 seconds into the empty net. But before the game is over, one of those last-minute goals that's just there for the reason of breaking a guy out of a slump. Skinner gets a goal from Montour and McCabe at 19:48 to make it 4-2, a little more respectable, but 4-2 is your final. Hutton saves 24 out of 27 in the loss. Leonard saved 30 out of 32, pretty solid game for Leonard. Smith, Leonard, and Roy are the 3 stars in this one, all for Vegas. Can't argue with that at all. Power plays, there was 1 in the entire game, and that belonged to Buffalo. Shots were 11-9 in favor of Vegas in the first, 6 apiece in the second period, and then 19-11 Buffalo in the third. They woke up in the third, just could not solve Leonard, other than that one goal with 12 seconds left. All right, on to board number 2. It's the one thing with the taped off boards that I've been using for previews this year, and reviews. When there's a 5-game night, it's sort of like, man, I used to squash that onto one board. And I put in the tape this year and went, nope, don't do that this year. I'm thinking about bringing it back next year. I don't know, I'm going to figure that out. Pittsburgh Penguins in against Anaheim, and this was a huge surprise. The Pittsburgh Penguins come in tonight with 4 losses in a row. They haven't lost 5 in a row in regulation with Sidney Crosby in their lineup in about a decade. So tonight, history for the wrong reasons. The shots were 1-0 in favor of the Penguins at 7 minutes. Oh, it was exciting. And not. The Ducks went the first half of that first period without a shot. And they must have enjoyed that because they barely got any shots in the first period at all. In fact, their first shot is around the 14-minute mark. And then their second shot went in. Danton Heinen. Do you like him, Anaheim? I know you guys do. I know you guys would. I like Danton Heinen. Goal and an assist in his first 2 games in Anaheim. Who do? Sherwood and Manson with the assists on that at 14-14. The Penguins get a last-minute Penguins power play, but then Getzlaf wouldn't stop beaking off. So when a referee's giving you a penalty, if you don't like it, just go to the box. Just go to the box. Don't go off on the ref. Don't make a big deal of it. Just go to the box. And even if it's a chintzy penalty, which this one was, just go to the box. He didn't. He kept beaking off. They had another 2, which of course led the announcers to say, why don't they make it a 10-minute misconduct? And I thought, you'd like to see him out of the game for 12 minutes? I mean, I understand though, because then it's just a single minor instead of the double minor. So I get it. But in the second period, as the first minor had just expired, so they're into the second one, Zucker scores from Pettersson and Schultz at 1:16. That's noteworthy for this reason. If it hadn't been a double minor and been a single minor, this one still goes in. It just wouldn't have counted as a power play goal. That was still going to happen. That's 4 goals for Zucker in 9 games as a Penguin. He does enjoy playing for Pittsburgh. The shots were 12-2 for the Penguins with that goal. Yeah, this game should not have been tied, but it was. The Ducks get a power play, and then after that expires, things get kind of scrummy between these teams, and the Penguins come out with a power play, which led the Ducks announcers to say, wait, how did the Ducks end up shorthanded? It's a Ducks penalty. Murray then denied Silverberg shorthanded, and then the Ducks get a 4-minute power play as well. During that 4-minute power play, it's Getzlaf scoring from Steele and Milano at 9:23. It was a double minor on Malkin. So star players getting double minors tonight. That was the thing. Yeah, Malkin got the 2-2 because the referee wasn't taking any. No, that's wrong. I'm recalling this incorrectly. Okay, so there's a double minor here for a high stick. And then this one was 2, and then 2 for unsportsmanlike conduct, the same penalty that Getzlaf gets in the first period. So this was just the referee, I'm going to hand out extra penalties to everybody. Gibson denied Rust shorthanded, so Rust had a decent enough game tonight. He doesn't get on the scoreboard, but he had that. And then Gooley would score from Rowney and Agazino at 17:20. That one, to me, felt like it was kind of out of nowhere. I was really surprised that one went in, but nice shot by Gooley, and it makes it 3-1 for the Ducks, who had, and I think Duck fans can admit this, probably not a whole lot of right to be up 3-1 in this game. Ahead, sure, but 3-1, yeah. Third period, the penalty parade just continued. I got tired of writing down who had all the power plays. There would be a power play for the Penguins after that, 4-on-4, and there's other penalties, power plays. Zucker then hit the post. So they pulled the goalie with 3 minutes left, same as in the Vegas game. But unlike the Vegas game, it actually works here. Zucker would score during the 6-on-5 from McCann and Pettersson at 18:39. So that's Pettersson's second assist of the game. And that made it 3-2. They would call a timeout, try to figure this out. The timeout, I think, was called because they wanted Crosby to get the rest. When you looked at the face-off numbers for tonight, everybody seemed to be miserable in the circle except Crosby. Crosby was the one winning faceoffs. Nobody else seemed to be capable of doing that tonight against Anaheim, but it still didn't work. Pittsburgh falls for the 5th straight game, all in regulation. I don't know. This is a strange universe that we're in right now. Murray, 18 saves on 21 shots. Gibson saved 28 out of 30. If you wanted to be a 3-star tonight, your last name had to start with G. Gibson, Gooley, and the other one was... Yeah, it was Getzlaf was the 3rd star. Gibson didn't quite get 2 out of the 3 stars yet. And I believe he's leading the charge in terms of their 3 stars for the season. They do track that with Anaheim. Not very many teams show that on the air, but Anaheim does. I'm pretty sure Gibson's leading the way. Power plays 1 for 5 for Pittsburgh, 1 for 6 for Anaheim. Keep in mind, the Buffalo-Vegas game had 1 power play in the entire game. This one had 11. That's not including all the times it was 4-on-4. So lots of penalties in this one. Shots were 10-2 in the first in favor of Pittsburgh, 15-9 in favor of Anaheim in the second, and in the third, 11-4 in favor of the Penguins. Final shots 30-21 in Pittsburgh's favor. So there you go. How did this change the playoff race? Well, I'm glad you asked. The Philadelphia Flyers are now second. They've passed the Pittsburgh Penguins. They have 81 points. They've played 2 more games than the Penguins, but the Penguins have lost 5 in a row. So right now the Flyers are 3 points behind the Capitals for first in the division, which is why on the power rankings board I'm looking at right now, the Flyers have a pretty good standing right now. And Pittsburgh has taken a nosedive. You guys will see it tomorrow because tomorrow they're playing the Sharks. So it's not like if they beat the Sharks, I'm going to go, oh, you know what? Pittsburgh totally deserves a really good bump for this week. Weird week. And what Vegas did tonight was they pulled 6 points ahead of Vancouver and Edmonton. Vegas is going to win the division. Just try to act surprised when they do. And for Colorado, they're 3 points back of St. Louis, 3 points ahead of Dallas, and they have 2 games in hand on St. Louis. They could still finish first. It's these races, as they are unpredictable. A few weeks ago, they look like they're starting to kind of settle out a little bit, but we'll see, right? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as we are 36 days from the end of the season. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.